Do you have the gift of gab and like talking about interesting topics? Are you often called opinionated by your friends and family? Then come to Anchor where you can be all of the above and get paid for it. Along with being one of the easiest systems to create contact with, Anchor supplies everything you need and can be used from your smartphone or computer. They even distribute your content for you so that you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Good morning, Internet family. This is Anjanette Potter, also known as Adam's Rib. It is 1:35 a.m. on October 21st, 2019. This is my review for the movie Gemini Man, starring Will Smith. So to give you a little bit of background on Will, if you are a Day One fan, and I am darn near a Day One fan, you know that Will started his career off as a rapper. He was one half of DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. The most famous song that they had was Parents Just Don't Understand. He also had a solo career. One of his biggest albums was Big Willie Style, which produced the album Get Jiggy With It and Miami, the two songs. So over time, he in 1990, from 1990 to 1996, he was also the principal character in the NBC sitcom Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So from there, from 1996 on, he went on to do feature films. So he made the transition from television to feature films and did it quite successfully. So he once he got into feature films, he became the only actor to have 8 consecutive films gross over $100 million domestically, 11 consecutive films gross over $150 million internationally, 8 consecutive films he started opened at the number 1 spot on their box office weekend domestically. He is considered to be one of the most bankable stars worldwide by Forbes. 17 out of the 21 films he had leading roles in accumulated worldwide gross earnings of over $100 million apiece. 5 took in $500 million globally. This was as of 2017. As of 2016, his films have grossed $7.5 billion globally. So so we're talking about a guy. Will, if you know anything about Will, or have been a fan of his, so he's no lightweight. So the film itself, Gemini Man, it's out of the genre of action thriller. Directed by Ang Lee, who was also responsible for Pushing Hands, 1991, The Wedding Banquet, 1993, Eat, Drinking, Man and Woman, I believe it is. 1994, my chicken scratch, I'm here to tell you. So it was written by David Benioff. Go ahead, let me put my glasses back on. Okay. It was written by David Benioff, who brought us Game of Thrones 2011 to 2019, A Song of Ice and Fire, and Troy in 2004. It was also written by Billy Ray, who brought us Color of Light, 1994, Volcano, and Hertz War. Darren Lemke, who was responsible for Check Forever After 2010, which he co-wrote with Josh Klausner, and Lost from 2004. So I remember looking at this film and wondering, like, is this film like a remake? Because for some reason, something about this film, I'm like, I'm going to do my research and everything because I'm going to be doing my review, which I'm doing right now. And I was wondering, I'm wondering if this is, and I wasn't the only one when I went to do my Google search. Other people were wondering, and it's not a remake. This film is not a remake. What the deal is with it is it was originally conceived in 1997. So this was shortly after, and it remained in what they call development hell for 20 years. So for 20 years, they had this film, they had the idea for the film and just couldn't seem to get it off the ground. There were several directors that were attached to it. Tony Scott, which I've heard of Tony Scott, Curtis Hanson, and Joe Carnahan. Actors that were considered for it were Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, and Sean Connery. Now, if you know anything about Will's career, he actually fits right in here with these particular guys. So even though I could see them playing it, I'm glad Will got to play it. So, and finally in 2017, Ang Lee, who wound up being the director, signed on. The film itself premiered at the Zurich Film Festival October 1st, 2019, and it had a release date of October 11th, 2019. So the budget for it was $139 million, and so far it has grossed $60 million. So it hasn't done well. Those of you who are old school Will fans, I would highly recommend going and showing Will some love while it is still in the theater and everything. See if we can get his numbers up. So this is unusual, but actually, he's also been in film, like he's been in entertainment like forever, since the mid to late 80s. And film, he's been in he probably has about a 20-year career in film. So we're not gonna count this against Will. You've already heard his resume, so we're not gonna count a couple of films toward at the end. It's not the end for him, but at the end of a 20-year run, if you have a couple of them that don't do all that hot, I'm not gonna hold that against you. So with the film itself is actually a very good film. If you saw the trailers for it, you know that one of the things that would spark your curiosity is that their film, Will is kind of playing opposite himself. So now Will is like close to 50. He's mid to late 40s, so he's getting close to 50 if he isn't 50 already. And the clone is what he looked like back when he was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air almost. So we're talking about probably about 25 years. It is the age of the clone. Is the age of the clone. So they did do a de-aging. They did a de-aging process where they took him and then age degenerated him back to about age 25. And they did a pretty good job, even though when you look in the clone's face in the film, you can tell that it's not him, but they still did a very good job. That alone is enough to make you want to go and check out the film. So as he's doing this and everything, his character is a aging government assassin. Now, as you know, if you've listened to different, if you listen to my prior, reviews, I tend to like to give you as much as I can without any spoilers, because I want you to be curious enough. I want to whet your appetite to go see it without having to give away too much of the film. Because one thing I hate, I don't look up any information on a film before I go see it. Since I'm now doing film reviews, I don't like to read anybody else's write up on it before I go see it, because I don't like to, because many times they give away too much of the film, so you don't have that element of surprise, and you don't have that awe from, you don't have that awe feeling that you have and I don't want to take that away from you, so that's why I don't like to talk too much about. I don't like to give away too much of the plot. But the reason, he is playing an aging government assassin. And the reason I'm even saying that much is because it goes into my, and the younger version of him. I won't give away too much of that, but we'll suffice it to say that, well, he's a clone. He's not his son or anything. So some of the themes in the movie, one theme is midlife, because like I said before, he is an aging government assassin. So he is doing a lot of contemplating. He's coming to a place where he is doing the midlife thing. The nice thing about this is that it was a more realistic view of midlife, because so many times in film they get caught up on one aspect of love life, and that's the guy who goes and gets a girl getting car and then starts messing around with a woman half his age and all of that other stuff. I think it was very in keeping with Will, because he's had the same wife for now for like almost 20 some years, and also a famous actress in her own right. So it wasn't that stereotypical midlife, but it was in keeping, being that I'm somewhere in midlife right now myself, I could relate to a lot of the themes that were going on here. One of them was the contemplation of past regrets, different things that his character never really got to do as far as his personal life. Also, one theme that's consistent in midlife is the facing of mortality. One of the reasons why you do a lot of adventurous stuff, and you see a lot of risk taking and people changing careers and doing different things, is because, number one, they may have things on their bucket list that they never got to do from their youth, but also you're facing mortality. Once you get to be close to 50, like your 40s and 50s, you start seeing a lot of your friends and your loved ones start dying. And, they die from stuff that's common to die from at your age. Heart attacks, different illnesses that are consistent with, age and your metabolism ain't what it used to be. So now it's harder for you to keep weight off, and, you just start having all these different ailments and everything. And so you begin to contemplate mortality. Not only that, let me say, the older you get, the more likely you are to have lost a parent. So, you probably have lost a parent. It's not uncommon to be younger and lose a grandparent, but the older you get, the more likely, the more you start, I've lost a parent. So you lose parents, it just makes you have to look at you. It just makes you start to look at take stock of your own life and what all, you may have been able to accomplish. You feel good about things you have accomplished. You start to feel a little some kind of way about the things you haven't gotten to do yet. And so the another theme is the generation gap, because like I said, he is nearly 50, and the clone, the younger Will, is, like I said, 25. So I, basically put a little spoiler in there, but there's still going to be plenty of it that I'm leaving out that you'll be able to catch a hold of. Young versus old, because when you're looking and you happen to see a person, yourself younger, many times, we're full of wisdom that we like to impart to young people, because remember when we were their age, and liking to be able to tell them to take stock of the things that are the most important, such as, family, being around people that you love, paying attention to your relationships, because your relationships can get, really, really messed up, and, things like that. So, and another thing in there was abuse. Not that Will did any abusing, but the whole issue of psychological abuse and emotional abuse, and how important it is to have young people around people that are going to teach them good things about themselves, positive things about themselves. The caretaker that he had, and how the person really groomed him. And we don't tend to think of men being able to be abused by other men, but they can. They're around somebody that takes an interest in a very wrong way, and it doesn't have to be physical. One reoccurring theme we've been saying here lately is that it doesn't have to be physical to be abuse. The scars from psychological and emotional abuse can last a very long time. And I'm going to cover that when I do my review on Dolomite. How you raise a child is very important. How you teach them to think about themselves is very important. How you raise them to see themselves is very important. There was a bit, the caretaker he had had a bit of a God complex. And if you go, and I do recommend you go see it. That's why I don't want to give you too much. You will get that. So the film itself, as far as the general flow of the film, it had a few, and when I say this, I emphasize on few. The emphasis is on few, very few, but it had a few slow spots. But even those slow spots were very engaging conversations. So there was not a boring part of this film at all. It keeps your attention. I mean, you barely want to go to the bathroom because you don't want to miss anything, especially once he gets to the place where especially when he meets himself. Like I said, that's not really much of a giveaway, because if you've seen the trailers, you know that it's him against him. And so once the clone makes his appearance, you really don't want to leave, because now you're fascinated at watching this younger version and how the two of them relate to one another. The film sequences, the fight sequences. Okay, I'm reading. I like to take notes before I do. I like to write down, and I like to have an outline when I'm doing my review. So my own chicken scratch. So the fight sequences were excellent. They did an excellent job. Will's, like I said before, Will to me is an excellent action person, but he also, has made different films like, the Pursuit of Happiness, Ali, where it wasn't requiring as much action, but when it calls for him to do action, he does it really well. So the fight sequences were excellent, especially with him in the clone. Also, the special effects, like I said before, once again, that involves the clone, and they did a really good job. Like I said, if you look closely, like you just kind of look and go, oh. But, like I said, with what, with all, when you're doing age regression is what they call it. It may not be perfect, but like they did a really good job. I mean, you really, he looks, like I said, he looks like he looked Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Picture that. That's basically how he looked. So once again, those were good. We wound up seeing it in 3D, which I highly recommend, because when you see it in 3D, if you've ever seen a 3D movie, and I'm so glad those are making a comeback, because we got to see him in Aladdin, and that was also 3D. 3D makes you feel like you're like inside the film. So if you can see this film in 3D, I highly recommend that you do. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So my rating on this, I'm going to give it a first run. I do believe that it is worth first run money. I highly suggest that you go and see it, show Will some love, on this whole thing. Now, I really think it's worth the money. I really honestly think it's worth the money. So, do what you can to go show Will some love. So after this, I'm going to be doing another review on Dolomite Is My Name, which is, the film that they made about from Eddie Murphy, the story of Rudy Ray Moore, comedian Rudy Ray Moore. So I also this week, my book blog, Bookworm, will be hosting the second part of the Wow Women on Writing blog book tour for Antoinette Truglio Martin's book, Hug Everyone You Know. Like I said, it's her memoir on her journey with cancer. So I will be doing the interview and the guest post. She was a little late getting the guest post to me, so what you saw this week was the book press kit, which kind of gives you a general synopsis of what the book is about and what to experience if you decide to go and purchase the book. There's also links on the blog for you to go and order the book. I think it is on Amazon. She also has an author website, and so if you want to do that, that's cool. This Friday at 11 p.m. is Eclectic Weekends. As I've said before, if you want to request songs for any theme night that I'm doing, or if you just want to request songs, I don't think I'm going to do a theme this week. I think this week is going to be just regular rotation. Of course, with me throwing in whatever I feel like playing. But if you want to hear anything rock, if you want to hear comedy, because I do have comedy on my Spotify rotation. I do have some comedy albums. So anything that you want to hear, just request it, and put your requests on. I now have an additional Facebook page called Adam's Rib Media Ministry. That's my media ministry. Everything that I'm doing is encompassed over that. That's the umbrella. So and I have another one called Anjanette Speak. So those are my two Facebook pages. If you're subscribed and you get my stuff, go ahead. And I will be this Wednesday. I will be doing my usual promotional clip. I'll be posting that, and I'll be posting on my regular page if you're my family and related to me. So anytime you see those, go ahead and comment your song request so that I can go ahead and look that up and have everything ready Friday night. So Friday night at 11, I will be hosting again. So like I said, I will talk to you guys again with the Dolomite, which I will probably get done and posted sometime tomorrow on Monday. So you guys be blessed. Have a good beginning of your week, and I will I will probably have Dolomite posted I'll probably have Dolomite posted around Tuesday. So enjoy your week. And I will see you then. You have a good one. Bye-bye. Hello, you have reached the message line for Adam's Rib Media Ministry. If you would like to give me a shout out, recommend some topics for discussion, or give an opinion about some topics that I've already discussed, either here on my podcast or on my blogs, leave me a message and I will get right back to you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.